You say she enjoyed
I
it.
said,
You didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that part. You didn't say anything about her enjoying being molested. Read where it says she enjoyed being molested. This is the worst thing I've heard in 17 years.
My daughter's been on drugs for 20 years.
What type of drugs?
Crack cocaine. I raised her children, except for the last one, the third one.
How old was she when she got on crack?
About 19, 20 years old. She was,
How many children?
she has 4. She was,
You say you raised them?
I raised her oldest daughter. I had her second daughter, and then I had the grandparents come and get the second daughter because it was just too much on me. My daughter was in the streets for a long time on the drugs. She was known as Lollipop. That was her street name. She was a hustler. She almost got killed twice. I ran back and forth to jail for her. She got upset with me because I said, your son wouldn't be in the same situation because he came out to be a crack baby himself. And he's 23 years old. And I'm the only one that he had. She turned her back on her children. She never raised her children. She didn't know what it was like to take care of her children.
Did she ever go to rehab?
She didn't go to rehab, but she did wind up being incarcerated for about 4 or 5 years.
Did she resume when she came out?
She came out much better. She did a 180-degree turn.
Did she resume ever?
No, she did not that I know of.
Okay.
I never known her to go back to drugs.
Did she try and get back in touch with her children?
Well, when she did, all the kids was grown by that time. She had fist fights with all her children after she came home from prison.
Okay, let me hear from you, ma'am.
When I was 4 years old, I was molested twice. My mother, she saying some stuff that's not true. But yes, I did use drugs. My mother used to leave me with a drunk babysitter, and her son molested me. When I seen my mother and I told her what the babysitter's son did, she beat me with an extension cord and told me I better not say it again.
Is that true?
So
That's a lie.
Okay.
Then
you said somebody else.
her boyfriend, he touched me.
How old were you then?
I was still 4, but I didn't tell her because I got beaten the first time. So at the age of 4, I seen nothing but violence. I seen her boyfriend beat her up. I seen him pick her up and throw her on glass tables and break up the furniture in the house. So this thing here trying to make like you was the perfect mother.
What ages were you when you saw that?
I was
From
4,
what age
5, and 6. But then at the age of 19, when I had my daughter, I was not on crack. I was smoking reefers. I was drinking beers, and it was like occasionally. It wasn't out of control. I didn't really get into the drugs until I was like 22, 23 years old. That's when it hit me. And I was told by a therapist when I was 19, after I had my daughter, I need to talk to somebody.
This is when you had your child?
This is after I had my child.
Okay, they said you should go to therapy.
They said I
because
should
you
talk
appear
to somebody. But I
Okay.
didn't. I thought that, you know, I handled it all these years. I can do this. You know, some people, well, me, myself, I thought I was strong enough. If I dealt with it all these years, I can do it myself. I can battle this.
Did you
But
ever mention any of
unfortunately,
these things to your mother later?
I told my stepfather and my daughter.
How old are you now?
I'm 46.
Okay, so from that time up through now, have you all discussed it?
I told her again only by the advice of my stepfather.
And so what was her response?
She told me I was a liar and that I was looking for attention and that I needed some mental help and that never happened and that, you know, she gonna take my kids away. And she did not raise my kids. She did not raise my daughter. Okay,
All right, ma'am, what has been the recent conversations regarding these allegations she's making?
First of all, this is the first time I'm even hearing about it. I didn't
Okay.
hear about it until she was 40. I never knew.
You said this is the first time.
When she was 40 years old.
Okay, so this isn't the first time.
Well, this is the first, well, from what she's talking about at age 4, this is the first time I'm
All
even
right.
hearing that.
So how about the other one?
I didn't hear about that until she was 40 years old.
Okay, you heard about one at 40.
Only
and
at
you
what?
I got you. And you're only hearing about the other one today.
Yes.
All right. So when she told you at 40, how did that discussion go?
I said, well, why are you just now telling me, Yvette? The last conversation that we had, we call her Yvette because that's her middle name.
What did she say when you said, why are you just not
I said,
telling
that's
me?
what I asked. I said,
What did she say?
She didn't have an answer for me.
And that was the end of the discussion?
That was the end of the
Very
conversation.
good. All right. And you
I'm
haven't
sorry.
talked about it since?
I haven't talked about it since.
Good enough. Was 40 the first time you mentioned it?
No,
Since 4?
No, we lived in.
When had you discussed it?
I was about 18.
And you mentioned it to her?
Yeah.
And what did she say? That's when she said
That's when she said I was a liar
Gotcha.
and that I was making up stuff
All
and
right.
that I was just looking for attention. And the only reason why I told her is because my stepfather, who was living at the time, said that I should talk to her. And I'm like, she don't care about me. Me and her don't have a relationship. Me and her don't bond like mothers and daughters.
And it sounds like the trauma that you suffered may have had something to do with your crack addiction, and her response to your crack addiction alienated your relationship. And she's still in denial or just doesn't believe that you were molested. Is that correct?
And that's correct. And you
All
know
right,
why?
good. Huh?
And the reason why I said that, because she claimed that she got molested by an ex-boyfriend. But when she was 22, 23 years old, she was going to this man's house. And that's when she was in her drug world. So I don't know if she was going by there for favors, to do favors or whatever.
Well, she hadn't mentioned it to you until she was 40, so you didn't know anything about it.
I found out through her friends that she was going by.
At what
to-
age?
When she must have been about, let me see, she was 22,
All
23
right,
years
let's
old.
get to the loan. You're suing about $5,000 for what?
She was trying to open up a beauty salon. I loaned her. She came to me. She says, Ma, her and her husband ran short of money. Ma, can I borrow $5,000? I said, Yvette, you know how I am about my money. I said, if I loan you this money, I want my money the way I gave it to you, not in bits and pieces. Her husband first said to me, we can give you this money back in a year and a half. I said, oh no, I'm not waiting a year and a half. I took this out of my savings. I said, Yvette, your husband said, y'all can't pay me my money back for a year and a half. Oh no, mommy, we're gonna give you your money back in 6 months. We're gonna give you your money back
So that
in
was
6
the agreement, 6 months?
6 months.
And you haven't received anything?
I haven't received a dime.
All right, let me see your paperwork. Ma'am, what do you say to this?
Okay, that's true, Your Honor. But I took every dime that I had. I had me and my husband, and I opened a beauty supply store. Been sober 13 years.
Good. Do you owe the $5,000?
I feel like I don't owe her.
Why?
Because after I explained to her that I didn't get no loans, like all the loans fell through, I said, well, Ma, I said, when I get my income tax, I can give you that money.
Did you?
I didn't get as much as I was supposed
Okay.
to.
So
So I
did-
offered it to her. She said, no, cursing me out. I said, just let me pay my car note and you can have the $2,000. That's not how I gave you the bleeping money.
She wanted it all at one time?
She wanted it all at
Okay.
one time.
Now, hold on, ma'am. If she said, when you repay me, I want it all at one time, you can't say, well, I don't owe you no more since you want it all at one time. You still owe her. Now, let's get to your counterclaim for emotional distress. What are you saying here? Give her some tissue. Can you get yourself together? You gonna be all right there?
Yeah,
Get yourself together. Take your time.
my daughter was coming up to visit. My daughter was coming up to visit, so my plan, I haven't seen my older daughter for 2 years because she lived down south. So I'm like all excited and stuff, and me and my husband was talking. I was like, you gotta get my mother some money. We're gonna talk to her again. I have a canceled check here that he was trying to pay her before we got
we're
here.
past
But
that.
anyway,
Let's get to the emotional distress.
anyway, she started sending me text messages about my son, like I'm to blame for what he did, and I was trying to help my son. She's standing over there lying, trying to say that I ain't try to reconnect with my kids. When I got out of jail, I explained to my kids and stuff that I was sorry, and it was, you know.
All right, that's kind of normal,
So-
though. What you must do to prove emotional distress is that she did something so outrageous
Okay.
and abnormal that you deserve to be compensated because
Well,
it has caused you
I have-
distress, extreme distress.
I have a letter from my doctor. I have the text messages how I enjoyed being molested.
Oh.
And I have the voicemail.
You sent her that, man?
I have the
said to her,
I had the
that's when I
voicemail.
just got finished telling you, just like I just got finished telling you, she was still going over
Now
to
to hear